Good morning and welcome to today's conference on emerging Europe. It's great to see so many representatives of British business here today to discuss this huge opportunity. Let me begin by defining emerging Europe, in case you've come for something that you weren't quite expecting. At its core are 9 markets: Austria, Bulgaria, Croatia, the Czech Republic, Hungary, Poland, Romania, Slovakia and Slovenia, which together make up the Foreign Office's Central European network. However, in a globalized world, business does not function within tight boundaries. Neither do we, and we are delighted that we have representatives from Serbia with us today too. Emerging markets, emerging Europe. Why emerging Europe? Nick Baird, our keynote speaker, will say more about this in a moment. I have lived and breathed the region for 30 years. It is an exciting region of over 100 million people, large sums in EU structural and cohesion funds, a group of countries that by EU standards experience much higher growth rates and which are seeking to modernise and develop rapidly. They're also members of the single market and on our doorstep. There are as many flights to Poland every day from the UK as there are within Poland. And British brands, expertise and quality are valued across the region. When I first arrived in the region in 1982, the number of British exhibitors at the largest international fair would have fitted into a very small room. Anything east of the Iron Curtain was distant and unimaginable for most companies. Post-1989, there was an upsurge in interest in the opportunities right across the region. Some British companies, including some here, stayed and prospered and are now household names in the regions. Others came and went for a variety of reasons, including difficulties in market entry, excessive bureaucracy, corruption, and issues with public procurement. However, one of our key messages today is that the world has moved on. No market is perfect. The scores in terms of the World Bank Ease of Doing Business report vary significantly. But the reality is that even in the newest EU markets, Bulgaria and Romania, there are already a wide range of UK companies making money and doing well. But there's room for a lot more. For such a high potential region, UK market penetration is very low. For new to export and innovative SMEs, the region offers an excellent introduction to selling into emerging markets too. Cultural, linguistic and business barriers are low, especially by emerging market standards. Representatives from UKTI teams from across the region are here today and eager to help more and more great British companies to export to or invest in the region. My hope is that all of you will join me in being an ambassador for the fantastic opportunity that emerging Europe represents for British business. Please do take time to join the country panels, visit the country meeting points in the foyer outside, and meet our country specialists. I would now like to introduce our keynote speaker, Nick Baird, the CEO of UK Trade and Investment, and someone who I know personally is passionately committed to the success of emerging Europe. Nick.
Thank you very much, Robin, and welcome everybody this morning. It's great to see so many of you. I want to say a few words about why emerging Europe is such a priority for UKTI and British government working together with British exporters to make even more of these markets. But let me say a few words of context first. It's hard, I think, to exaggerate how important trade and investment are to the UK at the moment. Because of the measures that the government has had to take to get our public debt under control, as all of you will know in business, the domestic drivers of demand are constrained. And if you can't go to your domestic markets for growth, any economist will tell you you then have to go international. This is not just a short-term issue for the UK, it is a medium-term issue. Although the last few years and the crisis of 2008 has particularly brought it home, it is nonetheless an issue with the UK economy for some time. We all know that growth in the UK has been driven for too long by debt-fueled domestic consumption and by public sector procurement, and we've run as a country a trade deficit for some 40 years, and this is not healthy. This is why the Prime Minister and Chancellor have set for us the target of more than doubling our exports as a country from £450 billion a year at present to £1 trillion by 2020, and to increase the number of British companies that export from 1/5 to 1/4, which is another 1,000 companies. This sounds a lot, and indeed it is, but it is eminently doable. The figures I've quoted for you in terms of size of exports would take us from just over 30% of our GDP at the moment, represented by exports, to just over 40%, which is what Germany achieves. The figures I've quoted to you on numbers of companies exporting takes us to the European average in terms of numbers of companies who export. So big developed markets like us can do this. But the particularly interesting additional challenge over the next period is that we will need to learn to trade better into markets that are less familiar to us. The markets in which we have been traditionally most successful, particularly those of Western Europe, are themselves growing at the moment. So we need to look to new markets. In that context, emerging Europe is a real growth opportunity, which offers UK companies emerging market potential close to home. The region, as we look at it, takes in 10 countries, all represented here today, a population of over 110 million people, and a GDP of over €1 trillion. I'd like to explain why we see tremendous potential in the region, highlight some specific sector opportunities where we believe the UK can contribute particularly, and outline how together we can exploit those opportunities more effectively. So let's begin with the economics of the region. Since 2004, 7 countries in this region have joined the European Union. Croatia will be next. So businesses operate within the EU single market with all the benefits that brings. The region is doing well in the global competition for foreign direct investment. A reminder that others too have spotted the potential of emerging Europe. And of course the region is a major recipient of EU structural and cohesion funds, and will continue to be so. Despite the slowdown after 2008 and the current Eurozone crisis, growth overall has been significantly higher than in Western Europe, sometimes much higher, and Poland has avoided recession entirely. Despite the current problems in the global economy, the countries of this region offer strategic medium-term growth potential. We're talking about over 110 million people who a mere 20 years ago joined the global market economy, who for the previous 40 years have been isolated with little potential to develop, grow or modernise. Consumer growth, modernisation and investment are therefore the order of the day. The face of the entire region is changing. We see an emerging middle class with a huge appetite for the latest consumer products, and an infrastructure network that is metamorphosing. It is also a region which, like the UK, is increasingly looking to export its way to growth and is very strategically located. So are we making the most of this opportunity as a country? At first glance, yes. The UK is doing well. Exports of goods and services have more than doubled in the last 10 years. Our export growth in emerging Europe is up there with China, India and Russia. A growth of £2 billion in 2011, which takes our exports to 16 billion. But the Netherlands last year managed to export over £26 billion to the region, despite having a much smaller economy. We have seen particularly strong performance in some areas, particularly services exports, where a 23% growth has taken us up to 4.6 billion. There's some great British brands doing well. I mean, far too many for me to mention in total, but some examples. Tesco, a real trailblazer in modern retail in the region. IPF, a pioneer in financial services. Rolls-Royce is transforming the region's energy picture. And GSK is adding value to healthcare with its portfolio of innovative medicines, to name but a few. But we see far fewer of the UK's mid-sized companies. Not enough companies which add value through innovation. And despite real individual success stories, our SMEs are thin on the ground compared with our European peers. There is undoubtedly scope to transform how UK companies are seen in this part of the world. Taking a look at the region's total import picture, we barely hit the radar, if we're honest, representing at the moment only 3% of emerging Europe's total import picture. So many of our companies have overlooked so far the opportunity which the region presents. Why? I think there are a range of reasons. Bad experiences after the fall of communism, the fact that the region was never a traditional market for the UK, issues around the business environment, including bureaucracy and corruption. But things have changed a great deal and are continuing to change. Key EU competitors, as I've said, are doing very good business. The UK is still not in the top 5 exporters to any of those individual markets. So we want to encourage British business to take another look at the region. We can't do that on our own. We need to work together with key partners like COBCO, Chambers of Commerce in the UK and the region, trade associations, and other key trade enablers like the big international banks, lawyers, and accountants. It's absolutely in our shared interest. That's why today we're launching the biggest ever outreach campaign focused on emerging Europe. Emerging market opportunity close to home. I'm grateful for the support of our strategic partners at Emerging Europe, International Personal Finance, the WYG Group, PwC, White & Case, Jones Lang LaSalle, Visa Europe, and Regis, who are all helping us deliver this major campaign programme. I'm proud of our UKTI team in the region, which has pulled together this excellent publication going live today, so please pick up a copy, which provides a comprehensive programme of the events and the engagement activity for the next 12 months. They're here to support you in finding growth opportunities, and please talk to them during the course of the day. So in which particular sectors do we see these opportunities? Over the last 6 months, our teams in the region have worked to align core UK competencies with regional opportunities. Areas where we believe UK PLC should be Premier League competitors. The biggest and best opportunities in our view include first, energy and power generation. The countries across the region present a massive energy opportunity. Energy consumption is rising, but much of the infrastructure urgently needs replacing. There is a long way to go before the region fully meets EU energy directives. Energy security and diversification are key. Nuclear, shale and renewables are all potential solutions. The UK is a global leader in energy and power. Early progress is good. Several companies here today are actively engaged in the market. The government and our embassies across the region are actively promoting UK expertise. We offer clear advantage in nuclear, oil and gas and wind energy. Let's market and sell them together. Second, infrastructure. Areas like transport, utilities and social infrastructure offer considerable opportunity going forward. Top-level delegations from Romania and Poland recently participated in a three-way rail working group. They wanted to learn from the fact that we have one of the safest rail networks in Europe. We have a lot to offer in terms of safety solutions, skills development, and financing infrastructure and rolling stock. On the broader infrastructure front, there are opportunities in water and gas, ports and airports, hospitals and schools. Our UKTI teams are actively identifying the best opportunities. There are issues with some procurement processes, but we are here to help. And British expertise in project and programme management is helping to increase the absorption rate of EU funds. Thirdly, security and defence. Modernising security and defence capabilities is high on the agenda of many governments in emerging Europe. On civil and business security, significant opportunities are presented there for UK innovation-based systems. There are also great opportunities for UK companies to engage in ongoing defence modernisation programmes, either as primary vendors or as an integral part of project supply chains. Partnerships are key here. Next, retail, food and drink. There's a seemingly insatiable appetite for great British products. We face a paradox, as Tesco for the last 15 years has played a superb role in pioneering modern retail in emerging Europe. Today it has over 1,000 stores in the region and an excellent distribution network. Yet we see an absence of British food and drink. There are exceptions: strong growth in whisky, top-end deli-type foods, and ambient foods. Yet we need to see a much bigger combined corporate presence from the UK. The time is right now. Trends are rapidly changing. There is a surge for quality. We see many excellent restaurants in the region and an increasingly discerning consumer base. The UK has more types of cheese than France. It's time for emerging Europe to know that as well. Next, health and life sciences. In line with economic growth, there has been, of course, an exponential growth in the healthcare markets in the region. UK global players are present. GSK and AstraZeneca are in leading positions across the region. As individual countries develop, there will be significant opportunities in diagnostics, IT, and health education. There is much scope for sharing experience in healthcare. The UK has one of the best and most internationally respected systems. Looking at innovation in health, we lead in this part of the world and have excellent global partnerships. There's much to talk about and loads to be done. And last, finance and wider business and professional services. This is an area where the UK is very strong, an area where countries in the region will need a great deal more in terms of partnerships to become themselves more creative as demands increase and liquidity does not match the pace of development. I'm delighted to say that we're very active. Our banks are present corporately in the region. IPF, as I've mentioned, is the leading company in consumer finance, and British insurers are increasingly engaged. Aviva and RSA are great examples of this. But there's absolutely room for more sophistication and depth. We lead the world in financial services, PPP and PFI, and these are needed in emerging Europe. We've excellent contacts already and we need to exploit them. An underlying thread in the services sector is knowledge, skills, IT and education. There's a strong desire to reach out to the UK in these areas. There are even signs of companies from the region beginning to invest in the UK, not least in our tech city hub in East London, because they're seeking to benefit from our world-leading research and development and innovation. So what are the recipes for success? Emerging Europe economies are young and have a strong, sustainable forward growth potential. The top-ranking companies of today have all approached the region in a market-focused way. They've learnt to work with the local business ecosphere, not expecting it to adapt to them. In some cases, direct export has triggered success. In others, the local supply chain has been the key to growth. For some, regional manufacturing has opened up new markets. Pricing and local market flexibility are key decision factors here. In many cases, finding the right local partner is key. My teams across the region are well positioned to help you in coming to the right strategic decisions on this. We've also introduced a one-stop shop for priority sectors to make it easier for SMEs to identify the best opportunities without having to engage market by market. So let me re-emphasize the growth potential of emerging Europe. The markets in this region are assertively chasing convergence. Some are more advanced than others. Austria, Slovenia, the Czech and Slovak republics, Hungary and Croatia all offer opportunity. See for yourself. Poland, of course, is the tiger in the region with its population of 36 million and sustained growth potential. And Romania, Bulgaria and Serbia offer the next wave of growth. Each country is at a different stage of development. You will see that today. You'll also have the opportunity to better understand how to approach the region. If we benchmark the UK's performance in our top 3 performing EU markets with that of this region, we can see an additional £30 billion in exports between now and 2020. The roadmap is clear. So to conclude, the region offers huge potential for British business. Our teams and our partners in CODCO, the Chambers of Commerce and others are all present in the region and seeking to work with you to raise Britain's profile and identify the best opportunities. We're here today in numbers, so please talk to representatives from all of those markets. Please learn from the experiences you have, define market-focused propositions, team up with the right partner, and you will succeed. I urge all of those who are not yet doing so to have the confidence to engage in emerging Europe. Good luck with it. Now really is the best time to do so. Thank you.